Family-owned Soccer Innovation is your go-to source for top-quality equipment. Whether you're a player, a supportive family member, or a dedicated coach, they have everything you need to elevate your game. For players, their innovative equipment are designed to boost your skills and performance on the pitch. From their agility cones to their portable goals, they have you covered. And family members, they offer durable equipment that's built to last because we know your support is critical to your player. Coaches, trust me, they can provide the equipment you need to run effective training sessions and shape the next generation of soccer players. Visit Soccer Innovations at soccerinnovations.com to start elevating your game with them. And if you use the code PITCH, PITCH, you can receive up to 10% off your next order. Hey soccer friends, I just want to give a shout out to our partner, Team Player. They are changing the game on how you find the perfect soccer team for your player. Parents, this means no more endless social media scrolling to find information on teams. With Team Player, everything you need to know is just a few clicks away. It's simple, straightforward, and lets you find the best coach and team for your player without any of the usual headaches. And coaches, we all know how tough it can be to get your team noticed, but when you subscribe to one of Team Player's team plans, you instantly get access to set up an online team profile that allows you to reach more potential players and showcase what your team is all about. It's super easy and lets players and parents see why your team could be the right fit for them. And if you sign up using the promo code PITCH, you can try any team plan free for 1 month. So whether you're managing a team or searching for one, come on over to www.teamplayer.us. That is TEAMPLAYR.US. And come give Team Player a look. I want to tell you about something I've used and that I truly believe in. Replayer. It's a sideline camera built for youth sports. Just set it up, hit record, and it captures the entire game automatically. No chasing the ball, no holding your phone, just hands-free, stress-free recording. The in-game tagging is one of my favorite features. One tap, and you can mark a big goal, ankle-breaking moves, or a clutch tackle. Then pull those clips for later for review, highlights, or social media. And the live streaming's next level. A buddy of mine actually watched his son's game while flying cross-country at 30,000 feet. That blew me away. If you're a parent or coach at the field every weekend, Replayer is a game changer. Head to replayer.com. That's REEPLAYER.com. And I think you'll be amazed. Welcome back to Chat by the Pitch. This is Ian Babcock, your host. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, I would strongly recommend going back because part 2 builds directly on the foundation. In this episode, John and I go deeper into pressure, early specialization, anxiety, and what it really takes to help athletes not just succeed in sports, but to survive them. You talk about why development isn't linear, why nervousness isn't the enemy, and how parents and coaches can support kids without unintentionally adding pressure. This is a conversation about letting the journey belong to the kids, redefining success, and keeping the joy at the center of the process. So let's start this chat and head to the pitch. So I'm going to ask 3 questions because they're all overlapping and I want to see how you answer them. You talked first, it's the culture of winning, that we put so much pressure on winning at an early age that it jeopardizes kids' love for the game. So it increases the chance of them quitting. But also on the flip side of that, there's a big push to specialize today, earlier and earlier. I'm talking even 3 and 4-year-olds, not even... My wife shares with me all these things about gymnastics, and I sit here and talk to a gymnastic coach. And that's not always true. It's depending on the athlete. And you don't have to start early. Matt Turner's a great example of this with soccer, starting off in really goalkeeping in college, or Hope Solo in playing as a striker, then switching to at the collegiate level to being a goalie and learning what she wanted to be and where her goal was. But that also conflicts with the 10,000 hour rule. And I have spent a lot of time trying to understand this. I think you started to talk about it. I had a conversation with Ted from Joy of the People, and it's a hybrid problem. It's not a strict 10,000 hour, and you will always win if you meet these standards. So how do you get the focus off winning, get the focus off specialization, and then, but you do need quality time training, and 10,000 hours is a lot of time.
First of all, there's no such thing as a 10,000 hour rule, right? That's not a scientific thing. That's something that Malcolm Gladwell made up. So he's even retracted that, which is impressive. There's no such thing. I used to go to these coach education things, and these coaches are lecturing, talking about 10,000 hours. What's 10,000 hours? That's nothing. Like, there's nothing there. Every sport is different. Everything has a different requirement. Now, does it take a lot of hours to achieve mastery in something? Yes. But the more complex the activity, the more hours it takes. So something like soccer, a perception action sport, is going to take more hours than running, right? What they call CGS sports, where genetics is going to play a bigger role in whether you're able to be successful. And David Epstein talked about all this in his book, The Sports Gene. So this is a big thing, that this big misconception that, oh my God, we just got to start tracking hours, because kids are not computers. It's not just programming stuff into them. They have motivation, they have love, they have competing interests, they have all these other things that play into it, as well as genetics, which is your ceiling. If you have inherited a lot of slow twitch muscle fibers, you're probably not going to be a soccer player, right? Now, the two examples you gave, Matt Turner and Hope Solo, again, goalkeeping is a different thing. Brad Friedel, right? He almost went to play college golf, right? It was really a last ditch call from Siggy Schmidt at UCLA and his focus there, and then incredibly successful. So goalkeeping is a different position where, a lot of that hand-eye coordination that maybe playing a lot of basketball or something like that can help you. So this idea that, yes, you can accumulate some hours in crossover sports is important. But you can also, there's no stories of professional soccer players first picking up a ball at 19 and playing at Real Madrid. That's not going to happen, or ice hockey or whatever. But there's been Olympic volleyball players who were high-level basketball players and took up volleyball at 24, right? So because they were 6'7", had a 7-foot wingspan, and could jump 40 inches. All super helpful things. So athletic development is difficult, and there's so many factors that go into it. You can do everything right and still tear your ACL, right? Still get 3 concussions and not be able to play. And the people who do make it, people who achieve at the highest level, they're not normal. Like, they're really unique individuals with their drive and their ability to overcome and whatever. And almost all of them can tell you a story of someone on their youth team that was better than them, but just didn't have the mentality. So developing the mentality piece is a huge part of whether someone makes it or not.
There's a lot of books talking about the mental side of the game. The ones that you come across that are very common is for soccer is Dan Abraham. Then there's, I'm pulling it up right now because I can't think of his name, but he worked with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, Tim Grover. Yeah.
Tim Grover. Mm-hmm. And learning about them and what they did and talking about their books. Those are the ones I have read a lot about. And then there's ones that talk about like these are big names. They aren't the small names. McAllister and all them talk about the mental side. And it really does take a special person to play it at the high levels. And then I got listening to a sports psychologist talking about it, and it talks about their brains and how much different, like these elite athletes. They're not talking about like the generic pro athletes. They're talking about like Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, and the Tiger Woods of the world. Who was the other ones they were mentioning? They just listed like 50 athletes and how they all have one thing. It's the addiction to the sport. And it's an addiction to the game almost.
to be the best, to be the number one. And it was a really interesting viewpoint how that all gets there. But as a parent, that's scary.
Yeah, it's scary for a number of reasons. Like, number one, if you see it in your kid, the same strength that drive them can also destroy them, right? That ruthlessness, that selfishness, that just refusal to accept anything than perfectionism. Maybe we could use that word. Like, all these things have performance benefits and emotional, social, psychological detriments, right? And so it's very easy to focus on the ones who made it, right? But go into the academy system of European soccer, find all the kids who committed suicide or whatever. It's a fine line. Be careful what you ask for. I went to the same high school as Christian Pulisic's dad, and he came on the podcast years ago, and he talked about just Christian's drive. Like, it was all led by him. And when his career just when he first got to Germany and couldn't play because of visa issues, and then obviously getting in the team at Dortmund and going to Chelsea and having 5 different coaches and in and out of the team, and then we had a great season here at Milan. But what Mark said, he goes, it's not for everyone. Like, everyone sees the big contract or whatever, but man, the injuries, the frustration, the media, the lack of privacy, all this sort of stuff, it's not for everyone. And to think that your kid has it because they run fast or jump high or scored a bunch of goals at 9 years old, yeah,
I use this quote almost in every episode lately. It's given to me, and it was, if we need to, I think I said it earlier, is that we need to teach the kids to survive, teach the kids to play the game so they can survive the sport, and it makes me think of like the greatest athletes in baseball or hockey, whatever it is. It's the ones that are mentally strong enough to handle it. They may not be the most talented players. They're the ones that can put the grind in day in and day out, and be consistently good.
Yeah.
Don't have to be excellent. They can be good. And that's what wins. And that's what you've talked about with other things, is finding that enjoyment. These people that put the grind in day out at the professional level found the love and the enjoyment at the younger ages to allow them to do what they do to their bodies day in and day out. My mind.
And what so many of them will also say is that when my sole focus was on chasing podiums, right, on winning the race, on winning the gold medal, on all that, when that became my sole drive, my motivation sapped. My joy was gone. That's when I wanted to quit. That's when I tended to get injured more. That's when whatever. And that's when sport became unhealthy for me. And when I stopped focusing on that, like we just had on our podcast, we had a professional surfer, Lakey Peterson, on recently, and downhill skier, Sam Morse. And they both, in their own way, said, like, all I do is go out there and seek a feeling. Like, if I can feel that I'm ripping across a wave and I'm athletic and I feel the ocean and I can rip a turn, and I'm just, that's what I'm trying to do. And if that's good enough to win, so be it. But if someone else does it better than me, that's okay. Or Sam, when you're going down a mountain at 90 miles an hour, you're just celebrating that feeling of being on the edge. If you're not scared, you're not winning. And that feeling is what you go after. And you don't have any say on the conditions of the mountain or which way is the wind blowing or the little bump in the course that throws you off. That's out of your control. So all you do is just go for the feeling of going super fast and being on the edge and wherever the chips fall. And that's why I love skiing, right? Because when I can feel that, then I know I'm doing it right.
No, that's the thing. I think leads into the pressure side of everything, and how do we teach our athletes to understand pressure. I told my son one time, I go, the day you go out there and you're not nervous is the day you quit soccer.
And nervous means that you care.
Right. And I go, that's the thing. I go, the day that you go out and it's no longer, you don't have the butterflies, you don't have that excitement, is the day that you no longer truly love the game. It's just a game, and it's time to either quit the game and find something else, or continue on and see if you can fall in love with whatever you're trying to do again. And I think as parents, how do you advise parents or give them advice on the anxiety of because it's the performance that causes the butterflies to go away, the anxiousness. It turns from butterflies and excitement to anxious. And how do you advise parents not to pressure or for the pressure of performance? Because at the end of the day, that will lead them to, in my opinion, and the studies I've read and the conversations I have, it makes them quit by the age of 13.
Yeah, I think it's just right. First of all, recognizing each kid is unique, and what works for one of your kids might not work for the other. Just like you described how different your two kids are, or my two kids are different, right? That's part of it. And then number two, it's like you're teaching them when you got those butterflies, when your mouth is dry, it's just your body's physiological reaction to something that you care about, right? If you didn't care, you wouldn't feel that way. But if you're vomiting the night before and you can't eat and whatever, that's not good either, right? That's an unhealthy manifestation of this. So in any activity that brings uncertainty, which is sports, it's uncertain how we're going to perform today, how the other team, what's going to happen, all this sort of stuff. That's there's going to be stress, anxiety, sometimes fear. That's what you signed up for. That's the terms and conditions, right? You signed up for that. To think that you're going to go play Division I sports and not be nervous, that's not what you signed up for, right? Go play intramurals if that's what you want to do. And so do you want that? Are those terms and conditions acceptable to you? Because if not, then you shouldn't do it. But if they are, then great. Embrace those things and go. And so as a parent, there's this great quote in the book, The Inner Game of Tennis, and he says, performance is potential minus interference. And so your potential is your genetics and your hours of practice and your ability and all this sort of stuff. But interference, like our job as coaches and parents, is to strip away interference. Not the snowplow way of removing all obstacles, but things like helping our kids see the big picture, recognizing that losing is learning, recognizing that the journey is a long one. It's not a week or a month or whatever. Recognizing that if you really love this sport and you want to get to the next level, sitting on the bench this game, that's something you're learning how to do as well. How can I not be a starter and still be a great teammate and get better and work hard at practice and earn my spot back? So all these things, I think, are things that we can teach our kids and strip away the negative parts of it, strip away their pressure feeling, oh my God, my dad doesn't love me if we lose, right? And I don't think many parents would say that, but sometimes our actions and our words demonstrate that to our kids. All these things are factors that we're constantly saying, what can I strip away so that the journey belongs to him or her? I'm the passenger, as you say. And I think and reevaluate. And guess what? You're going to screw it up. Like I have this yoga teacher it's called a yoga practice, not a yoga perfect, right? And it's a parenting practice. You're going to mess it up, right? But just tidy up like you ask your kids to do afterwards.
I have learned after all my kids practicing or whatever they may be, I always come up and give them a hug, and no matter how sweaty they are, I'll always give them a kiss on top of their head and tell them I love you. And if I say something more, that means I'm complimenting something they did. But if I don't say something, my son has picked up on it. That means I'm not approving of either his behavior or his work in the game. But I will always tell him I love you.
Yeah. I think you can say to your kids, you can be consistent, right? Because again, like sometimes if they've done something, you're frustrated, they haven't done well or whatever, like it's very easy to be like, oh, you were so awesome today. And the next day when they know they weren't good as well, so now they're extra disappointed. But if you want to talk about it, just be like, yeah, so what do you think really went well for you out there today? What didn't go as well? What needs work? And any intention for practice this week? so you can be better at that next week. And you can do that after their best game and their worst game. And then there's this consistent, there's something that I should be proud of. There's something that I can learn. I think that's the best way to try to handle it as a parent.
And I always try to give him a compliment about his play, but I will always tell him no matter what. And my daughter, we leave her gymnastics practice because they really don't want her games. I'll put my arm around them and I'll give them the kiss on the top of their head because they're still short enough to do that and enjoying those moments. But I will always tell them I love them. And as long as their behavior was not out of control, I'll always tell them I'm proud of them.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. Respect the fact that you're out there competing. It's hard to do. It's not for everyone, and you're out there doing it. I love it. And then probably the only other thing I would suggest you add, what would you like to eat? And other than that, you pretty much got it covered.
And that's the thing. I always ask after practice with my son, what do you want to listen to? Do you want to talk? Do you want to listen to music? And it dictates it's just him and I. If it's the family, it's a different thing. We're all talking. We'll let him bring up his game. We'll let her bring up her stuff. We don't force it out of them. Mm-hmm. The only time we'll say anything is work ethic, because that's the only thing I feel like you can control. You can have a bad touch. You can see when even if they're having an off day, when they're giving 100% on an off day. Mm-hmm. And we flat out told them, we know that you can't be 100% every single day, but if your 75% is all you can give, we can see that as parents. Mm-hmm. We know you. And that's the only thing we ever ask of either one of our kids, is to give all they can when they leave. And sometimes it's not always there, but we're still proud of them trying to give all they can.
And one of the secrets, that's such good advice, because one of the secrets is that there's no such thing as having all good days. The best athletes in the world have off days, right? And I heard one of them talk about once, she was like, I was told a third of the days are great days, a third of the days are bad, and a third are in the middle. So now when I have a bad day, I'm getting one of the bad days out of the way. But what am I able to give on the days where I'm not at my best? As a team, when we're not having our best practice, can we still give what we're capable of today? That's how you get better. It's not so much of what happens on my best days, but how much are we able to improve on the days when we're just not feeling it. And that's the secret, versus the ones who go, I just feel like crap today, so I'm just not going to try. Yeah, it's not really good.
I think that goes back to the word of what you talked about, your foundation of enjoyment. If they truly enjoy what they're doing, even on an off day, they're still going to strive or try to do their best, no matter what, because that's what they enjoy.
Right.
I always tell my son, I was never allowed to be the last in the line for baseball when we ran bases. It's because I didn't care who was in front of me. I didn't care what was going to go on. And if I passed you, sorry, we'll start over as a team. Mm-hmm. They didn't want me last. They wanted me first. I didn't like being first. Mm-hmm. I like to run. And I remember we were juniors in high school. I'm sitting here yelling at my teammate, why aren't you not giving it your all? And he goes, why does it matter? We're losing the season anyways. And I go, I don't care. I'm putting my effort in. I want you to do the same. Mm-hmm. I can tell you where we were standing out in the baseball field. I can still remember who it was. And the coach goes, everyone back on the line. Ian, you're last. Mm-hmm. Ian cannot pass a single one of you. Mm-hmm. If he does, we do it until he's tired. Mm-hmm. And so we did it one more time, thankfully, because I think we would have been there all day. And that was something I tell my son, you have to find the joy in what you're doing. I did wrestling, and preseason for wrestling is miserable. Mm-hmm. I went back day in and day out because I found I'm competing with how I felt the day before.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's teaching your kids those feelings. I was in 7th grade, and I still remember, I was like, I can't wait to go do my pyramid again, starting from 100, push-ups, sit-ups, and jumping jacks. Mm-hmm. It's just brutal. And then go do sprints and rope climbs afterwards. Like, mm-hmm. I'm excited for it. Let's go. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And not everyone is, right? And that's the thing. Like, you had this unique personality that was suited to wrestling, and you not only were willing to suffer, you took some sort of enjoyment in the suffering. Not everyone does. And so this is the other thing as a parent, is that just because you loved soccer or you loved wrestling doesn't mean your kids are going to love it either, because they're just They're different because they don't like the suffering. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that maybe there's a better sport for them.
And that was the thing. It's like I tried very hard to get him into baseball. Baseball, I felt, was a healthier sport than wrestling, and I failed miserably. We played like 3 seasons of I-9 baseball, and he goes, "This is boring. I want something more fun." We tried soccer, and has been soccer ever since. We've thrown in basketball. We've tried football, but he always comes back to soccer. And I'm like, okay, we have a kid that loves soccer. And it's what we need to do. And we'll go from there, and we'll figure it out what we have to do for him to achieve his goals. Like, we want them to play as many sports as possible and do as many activities as possible. Excuse me really quickly.
Can you say toys?
Yes. It's figuring out what they want. And as much as I wanted him to play baseball because I could truly connect with them, and now I have engulfed my life in soccer, and my daughter is now trying to convince me to engulf my life into gymnastics. And it's a little bit harder with gymnastics, but I'm going to try. And it's fascinating that we project so much onto our kids, but that's the one thing I tell my son every day. I ask him, do you still love soccer as much as you did when you first started playing? I ask him on a regular basis. And I go, don't say you love soccer because I love soccer now. Love soccer because of you. And because you're the reason I love soccer. But doesn't mean when you stop loving soccer, I'm not going to stop loving you, or we can still talk soccer, but doesn't mean we can't find another hobby together, another activity together. And I think we project too much onto our kids.
People would ask me, like, do you want your kids to play soccer? I'm like, not really. Like, I don't care what they do. They're going to be around it because I'm around it. But I've seen enough soccer games in my life that I don't need to see another one, and I'm going to be okay. When they had other stuff. And now that, again, they're in college and they don't play those sports in college that they did growing up, but it's like, I love to ski with them. I mountain bike with my son and play golf and do yoga with my daughter and whatever. Like, I love the things that I can participate with them, because I certainly can't play soccer with 18-year-olds anymore. That's the thing that I just think your job as a parent is help your kids become athletes for life. Teach them to love movement, and they'll find the ways that they like to move. Most people's sport pursuits after the age of 22 are individual. We swim, we bike, we run. Give your kids the tools to go swim, bike, and run, because that's probably how they're going to love movement and stay fit later on in life.
Speaking of movement, brain just thought about it. I accidentally closed my questions. Do you think the movement, going back to what Ted with Joy of the People talks about, the freedom, the movement, the opportunity to play free, move free, is very critical for them to stay with sports? Because at the end of the day, I know that a well-rounded person, just not focused on soccer or something else, is important, but I also think being involved in team sports or activities are just as valuable, or sometimes more valuable, depending on the age, as education, like true education, book learning. And
if done right, everything. My first book, I had this great quote from, I think, Rainier Martins, and he said, sport's a double-edged sword. When swung in the right direction by well-meaning, well-intentioned, well-educated adults, it's this incredibly positive experience. But swung in the wrong direction, right, by people who are not trained, who are in it for the wrong reasons, it can become devastating. And so the good or the bad is determined by who wields the sword. And sport is neither good nor bad. It's neutral. It depends on the adults supervising, running, coaching, whether it becomes a positive or a negative thing for children. And so thinking that, I'm just going to sign my kid up for baseball because baseball's great. Not if they have a terrible coach in a terrible league with terrible fans and terrible teammates. So being intentional, like we are about other things with our kids, finding the right league, the right coach, the right organization, demanding that they see the big picture. All these things are really critical so that our kids graduate from youth sports with a love of movement. That's our job, because that helps them become healthy for life.
then like you're talking about support and helping them. So as parents that I'm going to use my family as an example. We knew nothing about soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I played 3 months in high school because we had a soccer club my sophomore year. And the next year they started what we called modified soccer, which is 7th and 8th grade in New York State. Our soccer club went away. That's the last time I played soccer until my son in 2019 started to play soccer. You're going on almost 19 years between those gaps. And how do you advise parents to be more supportive in their sports journey and then without adding any pressure?
First of all, be okay with your own journey, right? Your kids are not you're not there to live vicariously through your kids, right? It scares me when people say, we struck out 10 batters today. No, we didn't. He struck out 10 batters, right? We didn't score 3 goals. She scored 3 goals, right? So separating your identity from your children in what they pursue is really important. That's the autonomy piece. Number 2, once you've done that, is just, again, be present, but not over involved, right? So don't coach them from the sideline. Be there, watch the game, pay attention, but just be there as a supporter and as a fan, not as the coach, not as the ref, not as whatever. All these things just make, and help your kid understand that sport is something they do. It's not who they are. If sport becomes who they are, then they struggle with all sorts of identity issues, and especially if they get injured or they get cut or whatever. So these are all just the little things and then have your life outside of their sport. Have your own sporting pursuits. Say, hey, no, it's important that our family does this trip, or I'm not going to come watch your soccer practice. I'm going to go for a run, whatever it is. Don't let it seem like their activities are the center of your universe. You can love them and still go to the gym yourself.
And as a parent, that's been the harder thing for me. I always loved watching them. I think it's more of talking to the parents on the sideline than at practices, is sitting there and watching. When my son practices, I've gotten to know several of the coaches. So I end up watching 2 feet, like they break the full-size field up into thirds. So they each get about 30 yards each or so, 40 yards each. And I'll be watching the last third, farthest away field, because I'm watching U16s, the U17s, and the U19s all down there playing and not even paying attention to Landon's practice, because I'm fascinating what they're doing, because that will be my son, hopefully, and if he stays with the game, in a few years. There's a kid that's 15 that's over there playing with a bunch of 19-year-olds and schooling them. It's amazing to watch. Some of them are men. They're 19, they're freshmen in college, and it's fun to watch, where you trickle down the field. You have the 2013s here, and then you have like 14s and 25th, U15s here, and then you have the older ones all the way down at the end. And it's just, for me, it's fun to watch, and I like talking to the parents. But you are right. I think we need to learn. I've gotten better because of my wife. I'll give her all the credit. Dropping my son off 2 minutes away when he has practice and coming back when he's done. There's no point of sitting there when it's 2 minutes away. There's so much more I can do in that 90
and
minutes.
Even when it's a drive, you can do work. You can go for a walk. You can go for a run. You can call the people you haven't made a phone call to in a long time and catch up. I think, when parents sit there and post a chair and watch practice after practice, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. By all means, watch the games, but don't watch practice. Who cares? Let that be your kid's journey.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have to let it be theirs. And I've gone a couple of times, and he looks at me and I'm like, don't look at me. This is your time. It's not. I'm here socializing with the parent next to me. I go, we drove 30 minutes to be here today. With my daughters, when she trains, it's at a high school, and I walk the track. I put on a podcast, or
exactly.
I'll be working on editing on my phone with a podcast, and I'll walk away.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? Like, separate that, give them that time and space to do their thing. But if you're watching, micromanaging every practice, breaking it down in the car on the way home. You're just putting way too much emphasis on the importance of this thing, or their identity as dad or mom only cares about me when I'm playing basketball or playing soccer.
Right.
In my opinion.
I don't disagree with you. We do. It's becoming more and more, I think it's worse. And I know that I'm not innocent in this by any means. I'll take blame where I deserve blame for. But as we're going through this process, is there anything that the communities that are around, like the schools or local leaders, can do to help make things better for players and athletes not to want to quit, or make it more enjoyable, keep that joy in the game?
I think at the school level, it starts, and the club level, it starts with how do we define success? If I'm coaching 8-year-old soccer, success is not that we went 10-0. Success is that 10 out of 10 kids sign up again next year. Right? If we go 10-0 and 5 don't come back, that's not successful. That's terrible. So how do we define success? How does a school say this is what makes a successful varsity coach? Is it winning the league championship and all the kids hate you and hate each other and they've been bullied and scared to death? Or is it an extension of what we're supposed to value during the school day and teaching kids respect and hard work and discipline and all these sort of things? So I would like to see more athletic directors see sport as co-curricular, not extracurricular. And it's the extension of the school day, and evaluating them just like we might evaluate teachers, instead of letting coaches treat kids completely different than you'd ever let the math teacher treat them. That's the kind of stuff I think we can be better. And if we do that, then there is more joy. And this doesn't mean that there can't be discipline, that there can't be high standards, that there can't be a ton of hard work. Like, all that is still part of it, right? It's just, we're not just going to look at the scoreboard at the end of the season and go, that season was successful or that season was a failure, because the other teams just might have more talent than you do.
And that's the thing that most people, I feel, struggle with the most, is when we put our kids out there. There are kids and teams that are put together that are designed to be better than every other team out there. And there's nothing we can do about it. What is something we can do to, looking ahead, that, I shouldn't say we, what are some things you're looking ahead that could be, or hoping you see changed in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think, first of all, organizations really have to invest in both parent and coach education and engagement, right? So we have to train our coaches better on not just here's the drills to run, but on communication and listening and emotional intelligence and how to connect with players. We have to train parents on what does the journey look like and how to support the ups and downs and the goods and the bads of the journey. These are, I think, the things. And we have to invest in our athletes of, this is hard, and learning how to do hard things is probably such an important skill. I was listening to this interview with Simon Sinek the other day, and he was talking about what's the most important skill we can teach our 10-year-olds, and he's humanity, right? AI is doing all this stuff, but it can't be human, right? It can't. And so teaching them how to resolve conflict and notice when someone is hurt or excited, how to listen, how to communicate better, how to realize when someone needs a hug and someone needs a kick in the butt. Like, that's humanity. That's more and more becoming the most in-demand skill. Not doing complex math calculations that a person will never do better than a computer anymore. And if, as he said in the interview, he was talking, and I had this conversation with my daughter about college when she was complaining about people using AI and getting better grades. I'm like, I'd rather you do the work and get a C than let AI do it and get an A. Because first of all, if AI can do the work, then there's not going to be a job for you in 10 years in that field. So you're chasing the wrong thing. And B, the point of college, the point of writing a paper, the point of writing a book is not to have a book at the end of it. It's everything that went into writing the book. It's
Right.
everything that went in to putting together that research paper, to doing the reading and the writing and the revising and all that. That's what I'm paying for college for, so that you know how to do hard things, because that skill will always be in demand and you'll be able to switch fields. Typing prompts into Chat GPT is not really an in-demand skill.
No, it's not. You can learn to be efficient with it. It's a tool to be utilized.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite question to ask is, who has been the greatest influence on you as I'm going to start off because you played as a player, a coach, and who has been the greatest influence on you in the world that you're in now that you're doing?
I'd say the first part, my parents, who have both recently passed, and think about them a lot. And my mom was the unconditional love person, no matter what, just was proud of the fact that you were out there. My dad drove me hard. If he said you did well, you had a really good game. He didn't bullshit you and stuff. And so they were both really influence on my drive and desire to be an athlete, and certainly pursue this and support me as I pursued my dreams of being a coach and writing books and all that sort of stuff. In my professional thing, certainly like Dr. Jerry Lynch and all the work I get to do with him, who's 30 years ahead of me in experience, and we've gotten to write 2 books together and put on coaching conferences and do so much work together. He's been this amazing mentor to me and sounding board. And so I've learned so much from him that has opened the door to learning from others as well. And the people he's connected me to, some of the biggest names in coaching that then I've gotten to have conversations with, that's just been amazing.
This 2-part conversation with John really comes down to one core message. Youth sports should be about developing people first and athletes second. Across both episodes, we talk about culture, joy, pressure, and the powerful role that adults play in shaping an athlete's experience. John challenged the fear-based coaching, early specialization, myths, and the obsession with winning at young ages, reminding us that success isn't measured by trophies or rankings. It's measured by, rather, if the athlete stays in the game, loves the moments, and grows through the process. We explore how joy and competitiveness can coexist, why you can't teach winning, but you can teach competing, and how helping athletes take ownership, stay motivated from within, and handle pressures is far more valuable than chasing outcomes. As parents, this means stripping away interference and offering unconditional support. As coaches, it means building trust, relationships, and environments where athletes feel safe to grow. The goal isn't raising professionals at all cost. It's raising resilient, healthy athletes who know how to do hard things in sports and in life. A big thanks to John for joining me on Chat by the Pitch. If you guys have enjoyed this podcast, have enjoyed what I've been trying to do, the messages that I'm putting out there, please give me some ratings, some stars on all the podcast sites that you listen to this on. Give me a review, share with others. The more I can make this grow, the more I can continue doing this. I'm really trying to make a difference in our soccer community. So I hope you guys have enjoyed all this. And until next time, I'll see you at the pitch.